as a family, we're not comfortable not wearing our masks.
They both went to school today wearing masks. They both came home not wearing masks.
First at 5, the first mask optional day at local schools after both Oregon and Washington ended their indoor mandates. Now, we were there as the bell rang this afternoon at Portland's Arleta School and also got a glimpse at Beaverton Middle School. This video put out by the district. And what we found, if you hear it there, families have different comfort levels with this new reality. Now, some of those students today had their masks on. Others chose to leave them at home or maybe pack them away just in case here.
And we spoke to a school psychologist at Salem Kaiser Public Schools about this. She says there are benefits to losing the masks, including teachers being able to use facial expressions to better gauge students' understanding of subjects. The change could be especially beneficial for younger students who will now be able to see their teachers' mouths when sounding out words. She says perhaps the most important thing is that students and parents create a culture of kindness.
It's important to focus on positive things and things that we can control. So like good hygiene, exercise, healthy foods, getting plenty of sleep. For some people, that means wearing a mask, and that's okay.
A little more understanding and kindness now. While Oregon's largest school districts have officially made masks optional, at least one of them is still waiting. Park Rose will not be changing its mask policy until after spring break is over, and that is toward the end of this month.
David, let me ask you, have you had a chance to enjoy some of the outdoor areas during the pandemic at the restaurants?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm all about supporting local businesses as much as I can, and it's great to see.
And it was really a lifesaver for a lot of restaurants, and there's good news for those of us who have enjoyed that program. It allows Portland's sidewalks and streets to be open to on these parklets. They just got an extension.
Yeah, our Mark Benner joins us live in Southwest Portland. And Mike, it really took a while to get this program up and running in the beginning, and it's really helped businesses stay afloat. So tell us more.
Yeah, it sure has, David. In fact, business owners will tell you that the Healthy Businesses program has been super helpful. And here's the thing, it was actually set to expire at the end of June, but now we may be seeing these dining areas and plazas like this one for an additional 2 months at least.
For the owner of Atlas Pizza and 2 other local businesses, outdoor dining made possible through the city's Healthy Businesses program was a lifesaver.
If we hadn't had the street closed and been allowed to set up outdoor seating, we would have closed probably a year ago, easily.
Eli Johnson points to the first year of the pandemic, when he estimates losing anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a month.
And you can only do that so long before you're just done.
Johnson says the Healthy Businesses program gave him a lifeline, and it may very well continue to do so.
Hundreds of small businesses have told us that operating outdoor in city streets was essential to their survival during the pandemic.
Monday morning, Transportation Commissioner Joanne Hardesty announced the extension of the Healthy Businesses program through the end of August, and it could be extended even longer, for 3 years, if City Council sets aside some federal rescue dollars in the coming months. Same goes for the Portland public street plazas, like this one on Southwest Harvey Milk.
As we emerge from this pandemic, I am determined to create a Portland that is more resilient, more inclusive, and more equitably placed than it was before.
Business owner Eli Johnson is all for it. He says without this forward kind of thinking from the city, his businesses would have gone under, and in all likelihood, many others. Johnson's relieved to know outdoor dining is sticking around through summer and maybe longer.
Our restaurants, our bars, our coffee shops are part of what make Portland Portland. They provide jobs, they provide a meeting place for the neighborhood.
All right, so again, the Healthy Businesses program has been extended through the end of August. It's now up to the City Council to see if it can be extended past that. So we'll be watching the City Council as it irons out its budget. David.
Mike Benner in Southwest Portland. Thanks, Mike. And developing tonight, police are investigating racist graffiti at a Portland high school. Now, over the weekend, someone painted hate speech on the Cleveland High School grounds. Now, officials confirmed the vandalism in a letter that went to school families and said the graffiti included a swastika. That's since been removed and reported to police. Anyone with information should call the Portland Police non-emergency line.
In the war in Ukraine, there's been little progress in peace talks as Russia has stepped up its attacks. High-level officials from both sides met today without a breakthrough. They're set to talk again tomorrow. Meantime, Russia has increased attacks in western Ukraine, not far from the Polish border and NATO territory. There is also growing concern over a Russia-China alliance. Both countries are pushing back on reports that Russia has asked China for military equipment and other support.
If they think that they can basically bail Russia out, they can give Russia a workaround to the sanctions that we've imposed, they should have another thing coming.
The U.S. is working to get an additional $200 million in military equipment to frontline Ukrainian forces. And on Wednesday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to address the U.S. Congress. He's been pushing Western leaders to take more aggressive action.
Portland-based Mercy Corps, one of the many humanitarian organizations who are working to help, with the crisis relief in Ukraine. Cassandra Nelson with that group has been at a border crossing for refugees fleeing Ukraine into Romania. Over the weekend, she herself crossed into Ukraine to deliver supplies to a church that's been serving as both an orphanage and a small hospital. Imagine that, a church, orphanage, and hospital, now one. We spoke to her this morning about her observations there on the ground.
So where we were was not like an active violent conflict area. So we didn't have incoming mortars or things like that, although they are very concerned now that they're upping the kind of the aerial bombardments and the attacks, the bombing attacks. They've actually been doing sirens every night, kind of a bomb sirens to make sure that everyone's inside their houses and don't go out. So they run those pretty much every night now. And they have a curfew as well, so people can't be out of their homes. So you definitely feel that, it's not normal there, right? The streets are desolate. You do not see people out.
Far from normal, journalists now being injured as well. If you'd like to make a donation to help support Nelson and her group's work, just head over to mercycorps.org. We're starting to see oil prices begin to come down from their peak last week. That's a little bit of relief, but gas prices really still sitting sky high. The average price, you see it there in Oregon, $4.71 a gallon. This is according to a survey of stations from Gas Buddy, and while it hasn't gone up in the last week, for perspective, these numbers 78 cents higher than a month ago. Wow. The average in Washington there actually higher than Oregon, $4.72, and you see the U.S. national average there about $4.31.
Because in the end of the day, I think that family and those relationships meant the most to her.
Sounds like a really special person.
Oh, yeah, she was. Yeah, we were very lucky.
Family and staff are heartbroken tonight, remembering an Oregon business owner gone too soon. 30-year-old Melanie Ward died in an ATV accident on her property earlier this month. She owned and ran popular country coffee stands across East County. Galen Etlin shares what she leaves behind.
For many, it's the brand that starts their day.
Because she became quite the business owner around here.
In 2012, Melanie Ward bought a single country coffee stand in Boring, Oregon.
She had a vision in her mind.
By age 30, she had 5 stands and 5 franchises, all women-owned.
Well, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. She always said that.
Tatum Lindhorst is Melanie's sister.
She was my best friend, that's for sure.
Tatum and husband Cole are mourning Mel's loss after a deadly ATV accident on Mel's property in early March. On social media, thousands are sharing love for her.
I don't think that Mel left this planet with one person with ill will towards her.
And all of her employees and customers and stuff, she all just made them feel like families.
Tatum is the latest franchise owner. This location on Highway 224 opened last week. Her sister was supposed to be there.
I feel like I don't want to let her down.
Reading the hundreds of comments, seeing the thousands of likes, people talking directly to you, Tatum, saying your sister would be so proud of you. How does that feel?
I know that I have a piece of her by keeping that open, and I know that's what she'd want me to do.
Melanie leaves behind a husband and twin babies. The family will have a private funeral Tuesday before a public memorial at Good Shepherd Community Church in Boring at 4:30. The public is asked to send flowers.
We have so much support.
And remember to start their day with Mel's mantra.
Tell people you love them and never stop doing what you love doing, Life is too short.
Galen Etlin, KGW News.